Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Seattle Kingdome in Seattle, Washington for another edition of the United States Hot Rod Association's Mud Racing and Monster Truck National Championship Series, all brought to you by Campbell. I'm Bret Kepner, and along with Kelly O'Neill, we'll be presenting one of the first of these new Camel Mud and Monster National Championship Series events here today. And indeed, this should be a killer, Kelly.
That's right, Bret. We're looking forward to some really exciting action tonight. The fans are really excited, and we're ready for things to get underway.
Well, that's for sure, Kelly. We've got an incredible lineup of mud racing and monster truck superstars here for one of the very first of the new Camel Mud Racing and Monster Truck Series events that culminates in a $100,000 points fund at the end of the 1990 season. In fact, earlier, Kelly had a chance to talk to one of the gentlemen certainly partly responsible for this incredible new series, Larry Kiger, one of the team managers for Camel's racing efforts.
With me is Larry Kiger. Larry is the team manager for Camel Mud and Monster Racing Series. And Larry, the drivers are really excited about Camel being the new sponsor for the series this year, and the fact that there's a $100,000 purse up for grabs. What made Camel decide to get into mud and monster racing?
We feel like the timing was right with the competition at the level it is now. We feel like with the interjection of our sponsorship that we can raise that level of competition even further with the teaming of SRO PACE and the United States Hot Rod Association as our sanctioning body. We feel like it's a can't-miss team and a can't-miss situation, so we're just very, very happy to be part of the sport.
Well, as I said before, there is a $100,000 purse up for grabs, and this is based on a point system. Can you tell us how that point system, how do you feel it's going to affect the series this year?
Yes, the Camel Mud and Monster Series in 1990 has posted a $100,000. $50,000 will be awarded in the monster truck category. $25,000 will be awarded in our series-long competition in the mud racing category. At each venue, we will award $1,000 to the fastest mud racer in what is going to be called the Camel Shootout competition, and we feel like that's going to add quite a bit of excitement to an already exciting class of mud racing.
Well, Larry, we are very happy to be affiliated with Camel, and we are all looking forward to the most exciting year yet in mud and monster racing.
Well, this event should indeed prove to be one of the biggest and best of this brand new U.S. Hot Rod Association Camel Mud Racing and Monster Truck Tour, and Kelly will be kicking it off in just a minute. That's
right, Bret, so stay with us, because coming up next is the qualifying round for monster trucks here in the Seattle Kingdome. Don't go away.
Seattle Kingdome in Seattle, Washington, as we prepare to kick things off at this edition of the U.S. Hot Rod Association's Camel Mud Racing and Monster Truck National Championship Series. Kelly, it looks like we're ready for monster truck qualifying.
That's right. We start off the qualifying action with Gary Sarton in the Skull Bandit, and right along with him is Randy Lynn in the Hot Tempered Jeep. And this is Randy's first time out, and of course we'd like to mention that it is a lady, so a lot of the lady fans are really standing behind her and hoping she does a good job.
It'll be interesting to see how the new racer does in the brand new Jeep Monster machine. And of course, Gary Sarton with the Skull Bandit, always one of the toughest on the National Event Tour. Now we're qualifying for 8 available positions here in this one-shot qualifying round. This is the only chance they'll get to place themselves in the field. You have to wonder what Randy Lynn is thinking about in front of her hometown fans, the Aberdeen, Washington lady looking up against one of the toughest there in the other lane. The green flag drops, and look at Sarton drive away. Tremendous air, a little bit of a rough landing as Randy Lynn finally makes it over the cars. Kelly, I'd say Randy was taking a little bit conservative there.
Yeah, definitely a disappointing run for Randy there, and especially in front of the hometown fans. That would be a little bit rough.
Well, she was more concerned with doing things properly during this qualifying round than going out and getting a little too radical. Gary Sarton, the Skull Bandit, receives an elapsed time of 4.20 seconds, and the big black Chevrolet from the Los Angeles, California area indeed is one of the favorites coming into this event. You know, Gary Sarton is no newcomer to this particular sport. He's won several U.S. Hot Rod Association national event titles, and on this particular hit, as the first man out in qualifying, Gary puts it way up in the air. That's not necessarily something you want to do, Kelly, during this type of competition. Look at that landing.
Well, flying through the air like that is definitely not good for times, but it does make some exciting action for the fans.
Exactly. It's a very, very spectacular maneuver, but of course, the closer you can keep the machine to the ground, the quicker your elapsed time is going to be. Sarton will be probably happy with that 4.20 second elapsed time, while the lady from Aberdeen, Washington, receives a 7.70 second clocking. Well, here's a guy who will definitely be trying to put on a show in front of the hometown fans, Kelly. Jeff Faintner out of Yakima, Washington. We've seen him a bunch of times on ESPN's coverage of U.S. Hot Rod Association Camel events, and he is definitely notorious for his craziness.
Yeah, Jeff is in the high voltage Jeep, and this ought to be really exciting. He gets a little crazy.
He debuted this car at a particular event of the U.S. Auto Association Tour in 1989 in Oklahoma City. And as a matter of fact, in that debut, it won. Look at this thing leave the starting line, actually carrying the wheels. Tremendous air for Boehner, and what a landing, as the crowd loves every minute of that one. An excellent, excellent pass. In fact, a lot quicker than I think Kelly people thought he was going to go. You can see the machine actually picked the front wheels up on the starting line launch, and when he hits the first set of cars, tremendous amount of air. And as always, that short wheelbase Jeep comes down a little sideways, and those tires just send it back up over and over on every attempt at landing. What a ride. And the elapsed time, 3.76 seconds. That's going to be incredibly tough to beat.
Next up in line is Taurus. He's driven by Kirk Frankish, and he's from Canada. And he's been around for a long time, so the exciting run.
It's true, he just purchased this truck from the Willman family in Illinois. This is one of the original heavyweight Tauruses, 15,000 pounds plus for this Chevrolet. And you can see that Frankish decides to keep it a little bit slower, a little bit more conservative, to keep that nose on the ground. And when he hits the first set of cars, you won't see that much air underneath these tires, and that's the objective here, to try and improve on the elapsed time. And considering the Frankish knows that he's probably going to be able to qualify if he just plays the cards right, he doesn't have to push this machine yet. And when he does in eliminations, it's going to be a wilder ride because of the weight. The elapsed time, 5.61 seconds, should put the Calgary, Alberta racer into the field.
Coming up next, we've got Hot Stuff. This is driven by Todd Blazer, and Todd is from Milwaukee.
That particular Jeep is Jeff Boehner's old Hot Stuff Jeep. This is the machine that you saw him so many times on ESPN's coverage last year of U.S. Auto Association events. Blazer is brand new. Used to be a crew chief for several monster truck teams out of California. He makes his solo effort. A lot of air there, but a beautiful job landing that thing. I'll tell you what, that was definitely a crossed-up situation at the end of the cars, and this rookie, his first year of competition, may have just put down the statement about his driving skills. Tell you what, very seldom do you see a brand new driver come out and handle a situation like that. In fact, very seldom do you see a brand new driver come out and take chances like that. You'll see on this slow motion replay of the first hit that he was definitely not light-footing it. Tremendous amount of air, and there's that Jeep tendency with the torque of the engine to drop the left front side of the car first. And indeed, when it comes down on one corner, you're in for a ride. He manages to control it perfectly.
He should be real happy with this. He got 4.99 on his elapsed time, so he should definitely be pleased.
I wouldn't be surprised if that held up for one of the top 4 spots.
Coming up next on line is Warren Davis in Barefoot.
Again, Warren Davis is driving a relatively new machine for him. The big Barefoot Chevrolet is one of the heavier ones out there as well. And he again takes a very, very conservative approach, but that's pretty much what you want to do in this situation. It's one thing to go out and put on a show for the fans, but it's another to qualify for one of these Camel Mud Monster Series events. And indeed, if you want to get into the program, you're going to take it easy. And you can see the starting line launch was definitely nowhere near under full power. In fact, it almost sounded like there might have been a fuel delivery problem. But Davis, so far, has the straightest line down this 150-foot course. You can see a little bit of engine misfiring there in the exhaust headers coming up through the hood. There was some fuel delivery problems on that run.
And he should be happy with this time, though. 4.85 for Warren Davis in Barefoot.
I'll tell you what, if that truck can run that fast even with engine problems, he's going to be somebody to contend with during actual elimination.